Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Mary Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up in this week's top stories, we see how Tzu Chi's love and compassion guides Mozambique residents through difficult times. Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines and Germany hold spring festivals to celebrate the Chinese New Year with friends old and new. The Bachang Community in Malaysia's Malacca gain spiritual enlightenment as they watch Master Cheng Yen's teachings through Wisdom at Dawn. We start the show in southern Africa. Under the leadership of Tzu Chi volunteer Cai Dailin, Mozambique has seen more and more locals inspired to join the volunteers' ranks. Through charitable acts such as the recent rice distribution, volunteers hope to plant more seeds of love and goodness in Mozambique.
Arriving at the local village in Mozambique is a truck full of Tzu Chi's rice from Taiwan for the needy. Local volunteers get in line to pass the bags of rice to the distribution venue, where 8 recipients are already waiting for Tzu Chi's relief items. Later, the volunteers hand out each bag of rice in a respectful manner to the recipients and invite them to join in prayers together.
Our volunteers work for love.
As usual, Tzu Chi volunteer Cai Dailin joins local volunteers in handing out the relief items. This time, Cai also organizes a food bathing ceremony to inspire local residents to shower their parents with love. Here in Mozambique, 80% of the population makes their living by farming. However, over half of them live on less than $1 a day. Despite their impoverished backgrounds, they still seize every opportunity to give and have gained enormous spiritual joy because of that. Mary, despite losing her legs, is already able to run a small business thanks to Tzu Chi assistance. She says she wants to make a donation to help the less fortunate to reciprocate Tzu Chi for its love and care. While local volunteer Anna organizes a weekly gathering at her house in hopes of introducing more local residents to Tzu Chi. Through regular community gatherings, countless locals have gained a better understanding of the Buddhist NGO. Doing as the Mozambicans do, volunteer Cai Dailin puts on traditional clothing as she introduces Tzu Chi to the locals. Here, there are no ethnic or religious differences, only the faith of mutual assistance. The love and compassion of the locals symbolizes the beacon of hope that guides countless people through dark times.
In Indonesia, in the aftermath of the eruption of Mount Sinabung in North Sumatra, many residents were forced to evacuate to temporary shelters. In our next report, we meet the head of Sinabung's temporary shelter, Rustianto Purba, who has been caring for some 600 volcano survivors in the shelter, like his own family members.
This is Rustianto Purba, who has been updating the volcanic activity of Mount Sinabung in North Sumatra on a daily basis. Following the eruption of Mount Sinabung, Rustianto Purba, who is serving at the Istihar Mosque, decided to transform the place into a temporary shelter.
He is always willing to help those in need, regardless of their background. Everyone likes him.
Everything is neat and orderly in here, thanks to the people that are in charge of the refuge center. We have received not only food but clothing as well. All of us have been treated nicely and well taken care of.
Other than leading volcano survivors and cleaning up the nearby areas, Purba says everyone in the shelter is a part of his family.
I'm very happy because I'm not only doing good deeds, but also gaining new family members. I know what the volcano survivors have been through. That's why it is very meaningful to gain new family members here.
Despite having to care for his 2 children, Rustianto Purba has also been caring for those in the shelter like his own family, and his gesture has deeply touched the hearts of those around him.
In the United States, San Francisco Tzu Chi volunteers and the U.S. Department of Education recently organized an awards ceremony to recognize 344 students for their attendance record. Come rain or shine, these students never miss class as they cherish every opportunity to learn. Meanwhile, Tzu Chi volunteers organized their first dental clinic for children of the Alice Griffith community.
Residents here at the Alice Griffith Public Housing Community are predominantly African American or immigrants. Bringing their care to this community for the first time, Tzu Chi volunteers are holding a free dental clinic for children.
You have to hold it at an angle, at 45 degrees.
As prevention is better than cure, volunteers teach the children about maintaining proper oral hygiene. For the many who were terrified about getting their teeth checked, dentists came up with a way.
7 years old now? Ah, you're 7 years old. Are you in first grade? Yeah? Okay, I'm talking about. Okay,
The dentist's friendliness soon melted all boundaries. From the morning till late afternoon, 41 children received dental treatment.
Because we often don't have things like this in the community. A lot of kids in the community aren't seeing a dentist regularly, but I think it's great.
Providing medical services to impoverished residents is a first for San Francisco Tzu Chi volunteers, but it surely won't be the last. The drizzle outside does not hinder these students, for they are the proud recipients of the Excellence Attendance Award.
Good job. What do you do? You attend school every day? Good job.
To encourage students from low-income families to continue to uphold their exceptional behavior, the Department of Education, together with Tzu Chi, awarded some 300 students for their perfect attendance records.
Thank you, moms, dads, caretakers, grandparents, friends, everyone that I know. I have 3 children myself. What it takes to get kids to school sometimes, in the rain, on bad days, on days I don't want to wake up, on days I don't want to go to school. I know how hard that is.
Recognized for their outstanding behavior, parents ought to take some credit for it too.
Members, thank you.
That has worked with my students for the last 5 years through tutorial programs, through supporting families. I am just not knowing what we would do without them.
Regardless of the color of their skin, students sign to the same song, because in their hearts, love is a common language they all understand.
Students from Hualien Tzu Chi University and Tzu Chi College of Technology recently traveled to Malaysia's Johor Bahru on a 2-day recruitment tour. The Taiwanese students performed mini concerts at 2 Chinese schools and also gained a different perspective on music in return. On this clear day, an outdoor mini concert is held. Taiwan Tzu Chi University and Tzu Chi College of Technology are on a music exchange in Malaysia, visiting schools in Johor Bahru.
Some schools' facilities where instruments are not so good, yet the student spirit in learning is very commendable. That's what I found most touching.
Arriving at Foon Yung High School, the largest private Chinese school in Malaysia, the Taiwanese students gain a different perspective from local students.
Coming here and speaking with local students, we learned that they don't have the same pressures to compete in competitions. Instead, I felt their music was very powerful and animated.
At the end of the day, the musicians returned to Johor Bahru's Jingsi Hall and put on another performance while wearing traditional clothing representing the 3 major Malaysian ethnicities. As well, their teacher serenades the audience, ending this musical day on a perfect note. In the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers in Austin, Texas held a Chinese New Year celebration at the Murchison Middle School. During the event, participants donated their filled bamboo coin banks, while others adopted one for the first time. First, let's go to Canada, where Tzu Chi volunteers in Northern Toronto and Mississauga both held Lunar New Year events.
This is the scene at the Tzu Chi Academy in North Toronto, Canada. Today, for the very first time, the school is holding a Lunar New Year celebration. Through games, children from the Chinese community gain a better understanding of their roots.
It is great to have the chance to experience the festivities of the Lunar New Year here in Toronto. Today, I played the Chinese yo-yo, experienced Chinese calligraphy, performed a sign language song, and made a fish out of a red envelope.
Under the guidance of teachers, students dressed in traditional Chinese clothing, try their hand at paper cutting and much more.
Students can learn more about Chinese culture and Tzu Chi's humanistic values through playing at the booth. As a parent living abroad, I want to express my gratitude to Tzu Chi.
Also celebrating the Chinese New Year are teachers and students at the Tzu Chi Academy in Mississauga. Other than teaching students how to write Chinese calligraphy, Tzu Chi volunteers also explain the meaning behind each traditional New Year's dish. Meanwhile, in the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers and members of the community have gathered together at the Tzu Chi Austin Liaison Office in Texas to celebrate the Lunar New Year. During the event, many participants donated their filled bamboo coin banks, while others took the initiative to adopt one.
And to hear the message of Master Cheng and experience, the prayer and the ceremony, and for my son to be here and to be part of it, and then for him to, make a decision to take a can to help other, people in need is, it touched me as a parent.
To inspire members of the public to fulfill their filial duties, volunteers put on a clip of the musical adaptation of the Sutra of Profound Gratitude to Parents.
I really like the ones that emphasized on parents and their value, something I learned in Sri Lanka growing up.
At the end of the event, after receiving their blessings and wisdom red envelopes, everyone prays together for a world full of peace and prosperity.
Also celebrating the Chinese New Year are Tzu Chi volunteers in Germany, Stuttgart, who exposed many participants to Tzu Chi's humanitarianism for the first time. On the other side of the world, the Philippines Tzu Chi chapter held Spring Festival events as well.
At the Spring Festival event at the Philippines Jingsi Hall, Alfredo Lee once again thanks the local volunteers for their assistance in helping to revive Tacloban City.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your support during the disaster.
The Master of Ceremony invites Christina Fajardo, a local volunteer, on stage to sing her praises, as Christina single-handedly recruited more than 140 Tzu Chi members.
Nowadays, there are so many disasters, and small donations can accumulate to help many people.
Receiving Tzu Chi's red envelope, recipients gently kiss it, treasuring this blessing from Taiwan.
The red envelope I received was a great blessing.
To me, the red envelope symbolized blessings after Typhoon Kasana.
At the Marikina Educational Recycling Center, volunteers who have recently returned from the disaster zone in Tacloban share their stories.
What's heartbreaking is during the typhoon, Rodolfo could only watch as his family members slowly drowned. He was powerless to help them.
Not only are tears of sorrow shed on stage, but in the audience as well, since many are disaster survivors themselves.
I empathize with their pain.
Praying for a world free from disaster, everyone looks forward to brighter days ahead. Meanwhile, also celebrating the Chinese New Year are Tzu Chi volunteers in Germany who are promoting Tzu Chi's culture as part of their New Year's celebration. As volunteers hand out Tzu Chi literature and bookmarks, everyone comes forth to take one.
This is my first encounter. I want to take a closer look.
Today we're sharing Jingsi aphorisms and our brand of culture with over 500 Chinese and foreign participants.
Of course, it's not a Chinese New Year celebration without a red envelope. After handing out the envelopes, volunteers take the time to explain each nuance on behalf of curious individuals.
Although we are unable to spend the Chinese New Year with Master Cheng Yen, we are here in Stuttgart, spreading Tzu Chi's humanistic culture and Jing's aphorisms in hopes that more people can get to know Tzu Chi.
We can't celebrate the Chinese New Year in Taiwan, but Tzu Chi volunteers have come to Stuttgart to share Tzu Chi's humanitarianism with us.
In the days ahead, Tzu Chi will continue to spread its humanitarianism in Germany one step further. To mark the start of the Lunar New Year in Malaysia's Penang, Tzu Chi volunteers organized 2 New Year blessing ceremonies to thank fellow volunteers for the continuous efforts in carrying out Tzu Chi's missions. Meanwhile, the Tzu Chi Myanmar Liaison Office also hosted a New Year blessing ceremony.
The Tzu Chi Myanmar Liaison Office is situated in the commercial district of Bachang. However, many of Tzu Chi's neighbors' only knowledge of the foundation is that it is a relief organization. Volunteers thus decided to host a New Year blessing ceremony to forge a closer relationship with members of their community. However, as volunteers extended their invitation door to door, they were confronted by a few residents who were at first skeptical of the volunteers.
It was only when I accompanied the volunteers on their visits that I realized what these volunteers do is not for their own personal gain. They help those in need with their selfless love. When I realized that, I felt Dharma joy.
Tita's newspaper stall lies across the street from the liaison office, thus she is not unfamiliar with the Tzu Chi volunteers. However, it was only through personal involvement that she came to understand Tzu Chi's ideals. Altogether, 77 community members arrived to attend the blessing ceremony. Seeing the positive turnout gave volunteers a huge boost of faith.
I'm deeply moved by all the good Tzu Chi has done. If time allows, I also want to become a volunteer in the future.
I saw everyone dressed in uniform. I was curious, so I came inside to find out more about what this organization is about.
Each encounter is an opportunity for compassion and kindness to transpire. A photographer who was out on a shoot was drawn to the poster that hung outside the liaison office, and by chance, his affinity with Tzu Chi was formed.
This organization is truly remarkable. I will do what I can and contribute my strength to help this organization.
Not only is this a joyous time of year, volunteers also hope to be the spark that ignites residents' hearts. Tzu Chi's community blessing ceremony is taking place at the Kiang Tian Elementary School. Working as a team, volunteers finalize all preparations prior to the event, including thoroughly wiping down each of the some 700 chairs.
We want to make everything presentable, neat and tidy. This is part of Tzu Chi's humanitarianism.
Playing the role of the huntsman in the sutra performance, Ma Weixin says he can deeply relate to the pain animals feel when they're being slaughtered. Hence, he made a vow to encourage those around him to join him in adopting vegetarianism.
It was a shocking realization. I never knew animals would attack so suddenly. I felt that deeply.
With the new year comes new beginnings. Volunteers hope that in the year ahead, more community members will join their ranks and together light up more dark corners of society.
Staying in Malaysia, since October 2013, every morning, Tzu Chi volunteers from Malacca and members of the Bachang Community will gather at the local Tzu Chi retreat to watch wisdom at dawn. Thanks to the event, many people say their lives have been enriched.
Early in the morning, Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteers are heading to the Tzu Chi Bachang retreat. Although having to walk up 3 flights of stairs, everyone is still all smiles. This is Tzu Chi volunteer Xie Yue, who comes every morning with her daughters to watch wisdom at dawn.
I had a bad fall, and afterwards, my daughter told me to rest at home. I told them resting at home wouldn't stop the pain and that I wanted to come watch Wisdom at Dawn.
Since the establishment of the Waking at Dawn to Watch Wisdom at Dawn campaign, more and more people have come to the Tzu Chi Bachang retreat to participate. First-timer Cai Changnen says Master Cheng Yen has inspired him to incorporate Buddhism into his daily life.
The topics discussed on Wisdom at Dawn are always related to what is happening around the globe, so it becomes easier for us to incorporate Buddhist teachings into our lives. It also guides us on walking the Bodhisattva path.
By watching Wisdom at Dawn daily, Tzu Chi volunteers and members of the Bachang Community have gained a sense of spiritual enlightenment that has and will continue to enrich their lives.
In China, Tzu Chi volunteers in both Guangdong and Fujian are safeguarding the planet through recycling and vegetarianism. Tzu Chi volunteers in Fujian organized a vegetarian banquet to promote a meatless diet, while their counterparts in Guangdong invited members of the public to join their recycling event.
Quickly sorting through the pile of recyclables in front of her, it's hard to believe this grandma is already over 90 years of age. To welcome the start of the Lunar New Year, Guangdong Tzu Chi volunteers are holding a recycling event in Puning to promote environmentalism.
At the previous study sessions and blessing ceremony I took part in, I was always among those sitting in the audience, so I wanted to get up and do something.
Also safeguarding the planet are Tzu Chi volunteers in Nanjing of Fujian, who organized a vegetarian banquet.
I've had more than 2 bowls of vegetarian food already. It's really delicious. I have eaten them all.
This is even tastier than the food my mom cooks. I will ask my mom to cook more delicious meatless dishes like the ones here.
Tzu Chi volunteers put their creativity to the test to come up with a variety of delicious and colorful meatless dishes.
Before I went to bed last night, I kept thinking how to put the ingredients together so that everyone will gain the nutritional intake needed and recognize this concept.
Through recycling and vegetarianism, members of the public get to safeguard the planet and at the same time cleanse their minds.
At the end of the show, we turn our camera to New Taipei City, Taiwan. Yesterday, February 14th, was the Lantern Festival, which marks the end of the Chinese New Year holiday. And on this occasion, Shantung Tzu Chi volunteers visited a nursing home, bringing with them young children to help spread some cheer. We will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. See you next week.